Oh wow, we are on. Not
Yeah.
very often you get two GMs in the same room for a pod.
No.
Thankfully, we are colleagues, so you know myself as JMax. Some of you may not be familiar with the face to this guy.
Yeah,
Maybe you are.
no.
Introduce yourself.
GM Brees here. Happy to be here and talking NSL post FA.
Yes, sweet FA.
Sweet FA at lunchtime. It's delightful to have you all here, hearing us spin our shit in the realms of free agency.
Big day, and I posted last night. There's no in between. There's winners and losers.
Yeah, very clearly.
You can take care of your business, but that in itself is an achievement of not being on the losers list. There's just so much can go right, so much can go wrong.
Well, I think as we all know, it's the toing and froing of free agency, and everyone thinks they've got a plan. And I think it's very much the boxing analogy. Everyone's got a plan until they get punched in the face. And certain people in our beautiful world got punched in the face, and some people found nirvana.
Yes. So we were thinking of just scrolling through the process bids list. That will give us the information about how many GMs were put on a particular player, how many GMs teams placed across their bids, then look at some of the big fish that went where they were meant to, and some fish finding other ponds and streams and rivers and oceans that maybe was not in the script before free agency.
And the people who came out on top, it's very interesting to see what their prospects look like post FA. All of a sudden, teams that weren't going to be are now more of a factor, and the big fish certainly found their 99s being placed on them.
So who we got? We've got the top five. So the most GM points dropped. Buddy Hield. That was the two competing 99s.
Two competing 99s.
Just did Bucks nudge Celtics, I believe. The Bucks just
got the Celtics, and we've locked down GMs who's managing Milwaukee these days. It's hard. It's an ever evolving situation. Which ultimately came down to the win-loss record was the big kicker there.
Yeah, because Bucks even had a worse random factor. So random was close. If random had been two more extreme, two value points, then he goes to the Celtics.
Yeah.
As you were saying, what advantage did they have with wins?
In terms of wins, it was a factor of 7, and you look at it and you think, okay, well, Milwaukee coming off the back of the championship, what do you need to do? How do you need to play it? And I think it's a play you've got to kind of make with how good Hield is going. That he's your 99 guy, and you look at that Milwaukee team, and a lot of it is locked down, and you just want to be adding those kinds of players. And Hield was a perfect slot. In Boston, it's a salty situation, but easily could have fit into that rotation super easily.
I guess I'd spoken to Toby before free agency, and he wasn't going to do anything, and then he sold some picks on the morning of free agency. And he's left with Oubre for cheap, which Oubre, you would know, like a really handy piece.
Very handy piece.
But anytime you drop 99 and lose, that's never... It's hard to rationalize silver linings there.
It's, you shoot your shot.
Yeah, you shoot your shot. But as you said about the Bucks, they needed... This is their window to try and win it all. So a great ad for them. Ethan mentioned now it makes it easier to trade Hero because he has that 6-man gunner role. However, they still have an illegal roster at the moment, so they're trying to find one more body. And for Boston, I guess the luxury they had. The luxury Boston had was their whole team is set, secure on contract, so it really was a swing. It wasn't we need this. It was this would be a luxury, which still sucks to lose, but it was a luxury.
Yeah, and someone's got to come out the winner. And Ethan's a very happy winner and now has that flexibility to move his chips.
Yeah.
He's got a guy that is already showing what he can do, and consistency will be a big factor.
Yeah.
He's proven to be a big factor. He's hit more threes than anyone else over the past season. So a big get, and gives him that flexibility with Hero.
84 overall on an $8.7 million contract. He looks so good he's been revived by the Warriors in the NBA. So great ad.
Great ad.
The second on the list we have someone we both had. You drafted?
I drafted the
I
big
had.
drum.
He is synonymous with winning. He's obviously synonymous with rebounding.
Yep.
And he probably has the mantle of that 2K glitch, at least for big man.
Big time. I think he still is one of those guys that you look in the league and you go coveted 2K guys, coveted NSL guys, and Drummond is easily, in my opinion, a top 5 coveted guy.
Yes.
And
you might argue has the best value in terms of 2K impact versus contract. Like he's between a taxpayer MLE and a minimum for the last 3 or 4 seasons, which is volatile, and that volatility has reared its ugly head for the Lakers this year.
Yeah. And heart goes out, but I've been there before, and I've had to watch him do his thing since having drafted him at the inception of the league, and once again, someone's going to be hurting, and it does hurt even more when you drop 99 and you lose by the slightest of fractions once more.
Yeah, and we've got it here. So this is genuinely under 1. So this is 0.96.
The biggest kicker here is that team leveler.
Yes.
It wasn't one of those ones where it was random factor or even wins. Actually, Lakers, had the edge, but that team leveler was a huge impact on big drum not finding his way back home.
And this has been, I might get emotional in the past, and I'd call this the Portland tax. This, as much as it hurts to be Justin and to see that team leveler like literally reduce any impact you have with the wins. Like you can win 70 games, and if you've got a really good team, the wins aren't going to give you any advantage. And that, if you don't look at, and this is what I've got better at and was terrible at, looking at it purely from my team's point of view, if you look at it through that lens, you hate it, it's unfair, but free agency before these current changes, there wasn't much freedom to it at all. It was very much, if I've got a great team and I've got 99 GMs, I'm keeping any of the guys I want. And I guess maybe that was okay, but I do think this reflects life, the professional NBA sports a bit more.
I think so. And ultimately, I think what we've really been able to do, and the admins, full kudos to them, is be able to create a sense of parity, and that's what we want to try and reflect each and every time. And I guess parity is also when some guys just don't end up coming back.
Yeah. And unfortunately, this is a zero-sum game. There's winners and losers on free agency. Like Cavs' fortunes are now, I'd say, 20% boost now. I had Cavs on the fringe of the East.
Yeah.
Now I look at their team and it's like their bench is Simons, Mathurin, Kongu's now the backup, or Drummond's the backup. And you go from, I thought fringe, he's got great young players, and now I'm like, this guy, if he keeps his players on the court, this is a really good team in the East, and it just shakes up the hierarchy.
I had the pleasure and the weight of writing the team by team for Cleveland.
Oh, yes.
And one thing you can't fault Shams on is his ability to just keep moving and trading and flipping and finding something new. It's a whole new Cleveland roster. Whole new Cleveland roster, and bringing Drummond into that team, they've not only got scorers and they've not only got athleticism, they've now developed a defensive arsenal as well, which I thought last season, you look at the team that they had, it was probably the best that they've ever looked, in my opinion. And now this season coming into it with Fox, Simons, Barnes, Hunter, Okongwu, Mathurin, Jones, Beasley, Drummond, and then a slew of role players and Messi.
Well, they're first round picks.
Messi, who's looking already quite silky, and 2K will give him that respect.
Yeah.
Cleveland all of a sudden they've turned a corner once again, and Drummond, yeah, as you said, gives that instant boost.
Yeah, the window isn't necessarily not to win it all, but like you've just pushed that the Drummond bid, and he's got a team option, no player option, which he'd likely take for $5 million. He's been coming off minimum contracts. That just whips you from 2 or 3 years away to like, well, if I can condense some of these young guys into a guy, then I'm a top 4 team.
And that's it. You know, we all talk about it a lot in terms of if you can land, try to land, and he's definitely one of those guys. And yeah, you would think at 31, considering the amount of movement that he's had, I think a bit of stability.
Yes.
And that player option gets Cavs keep pushing and rolling on.
He's NSL royalty. And yeah, Justin, everyone I've spoken to, super empathetic of your position. It's tough, especially being in that team that's won 70 wins and you can't even bring your guys back, whereas in real life, they might want to come back. But as we said, it's a decision that's made free agency more of an event and less of a formality.
Yep.
And someone's got to lose for someone to come into a windfall.
It's a hard pill to swallow considering who it is, but what you've been able to do with that roster in a very short space of time and flip it into what it is,
great.
Lakers are still looking very, very potent.
Yeah. Great vets, great depth, tall. Like Bryant came back, Johnson came back, Jones Jr. came back.
Dinwiddie will be handy.
Yeah, it's got height. You'll be okay. Like it sucks. You get over things eventually. Like feel the pain, and you'll come together when your Lakers start playing.
The next one we had on the list, and this I can't, was it this one or the other one? I remember there was the over-unders bid to see how many 99s were going to come flying. It might have even been Hill. But DeMar DeRozan was the third, with two fighting it out to try and bring him over. Yeah. And that was won by Charlotte eventually, with that loyalty factor playing in.
Yeah. Sign and trade bonus.
Yeah, sign and trade bonus, and Andrew coming in for a nice little swoop there in the hopes that he could land his services.
Yeah.
So yeah, 208 to 186, and Charlotte now are stacking up quite the roster. Well, and obviously with deals.
Yeah, well, I can speak to this. There were 2 deals. I was dealing with Charlotte for OG, and Lattice and Craig were dealing for Jeremy Grant. And both on the same day, the day Trump got elected, Lattice goes, geez, mate, I need a trade to like distract me from all this political talk. And then same day, totally unrelated, Craig's like, wow, do you reckon it's even possible to get Towns to Charlotte somehow? And then, look, I'm in wheeling and dealing mode. I had some skin in the game with Charlotte anyway, and I just said, just leave it with me. 2, 3, 4 revisions, and then Lattice is like, yeah, I'll move Cat for that, and Craig's like, I'll take Cat for those pieces. And yeah, big like 17 player trade went down on massive free agency day. And looking at the data of the DeRozan bid, there's you can have a lower team leveler if you're not a deep team. So you can have stars. The stars impact it heavily. But if you have quality depth, then they actually are the ones that tip, like Justin, for example, push his level way up. Because it's like you're getting a star tax. You got Cade over 85. You got Wendell Carter over 80. You've got probably 5, 6 guys over 75.
Those layers.
The layers, and that matters. And like, there's a detriment. 75 costs you like 1, I think. 80 costs you 3. And then you've got someone like Charlotte where it's really concentrated into the top 3, 4 guys. And I think he had 3 or 4 like second rounder cap holds, which would be 0, like nothing adding to the team leveler. So that's a little bit of a way around the team leveler, but then that shouldn't be what you're building your team. Yeah, considering.
I think it's we haven't seen it for a long time. Teams being built in that way. and power to him and the way that team is now looking. All of a sudden, the jar focus is less of a thing, and now you've got multiple different things that can hurt you with DeRozan, Cat, OG, and then a slew of players, picking up Cody. Goodbye, Cody.
Yeah.
Wish you all the best. Couldn't fit him in the cap, but it's
There wouldn't be many teams that have 3 players over 88. So
no.
Ja Morant currently 90, Towns 89, DeRozan 88, and I would, off the top of my head, I would say Washington. Washington, Levine. I'd say they're the only team in the whole league who have 3 players 88.
Yes. So serious contender for number 1 in the East now.
Yeah.
And absolutely would be vying for a championship with the deals that they've made and the position that they now find themselves.
And the wrinkle would be they just need some health because that is thin.
Yeah.
Thin, but that's it reminds me of like the first Miami Heat team of LeBron, Wade, Bosh, where all the cap was taken up by the 3 of them.
Yeah.
And it was just like, what minimum guys can we get to just play peripheral roles? And that's really the only way you can make deals for 3 like stars.
Yeah, and then hope it hits and hope it gels. I know a lot's been said about Towns' ability to find his role in 2K a little bit more in terms of being a player that has the chemistry. Obviously, DeRozan has already proven to be that all-rounder guy, and Morant is an absolute jet.
Yeah.
It becomes the gel test, and hopefully, and knowing Craig, he'll be meticulous in terms of trying to make sure that happens.
Yeah, and I know we've chatted about this before. Like OG, like on that contract, no buts. There's no way around it. It's not an efficient contract.
No,
but there is no better situation than to have him with 3 star quality players, and he's just the ultimate defender, efficient shooter, glue guy, and that was wasted in my current build. But to someone like Craig, that's the guy he was coveting to kind of support the stars.
For Craig now, you pay that salary, you know what you're paying him for, and he plays that role. Like, that's ultimately what it becomes, and he knows that he's got a guy that can be a body and allow those other guys to do their thing, and OG will be able to make that happen, and 2K already makes that happen for them.
Yeah, watch this space, Charlotte.
Big time.
Who else do we have?
Next one was Big K-Love. K-Love got the biggest...
I don't think on this.
K-Love got some free agency love.
Whoa, this was I bet no one's going to bid more than 10 GMs on the guy, and then everyone was thinking that.
I feel as though there were several people who had the same idea, who went, K-Love's going to slip through here. No one's gonna give him any love, but Miami wanted the guy and they got him. And I know Pete going into it wanted a K-Love on their roster, and He bid big. He bid 50, 20 more than Utah, and that really did seal
That was the difference.
That was the difference, because there was only 12 between them. Cleveland dropped 24, San Antonio 16, and Charlotte just did the minimum. Yeah, paid to be a part of the dance.
Yeah,
and they've brought him in, and Miami. I know Pete made a lot of it on the day, and obviously it is a tricky situation to be trying to run free agency day and all the things. But
I couldn't do it. Hats off to him. I'd be too invested.
I would absolutely lose it.
Yeah.
But he brings him in, and on free agency day, you look at what Miami wanted to do and needed to do, and obviously there were some that got lost. But Kevin joins that team, and I think you look at it and that size was needed.
Yes.
Especially with who wasn't able to come back.
Like they got Love, Lowry, Caleb Martin, and Kevin Porter Jr. That's one of the, without any sexy names, that's like a great free agency haul, because now I look at that roster and there's, I'd say there's 10 to 12 players 77 or 76 or over. That screams to me there's a lot of teams out there hurting for depth. I'm going to send you these 3 guys I reckon he's got 2 upgrade trades worth of players there and still keep his guys and just upgrade.
And they run deep. They run deep, and now they've now got that situation where they've got the likes. They've got CJ White and Lowry in that area that they can move things. They can obviously now they've got K-Love to potentially play minutes at centre as well if he really wanted to, because I know that Vooch situation is kind of both in the NBA and NSL looking to shape it. Kevin Porter Jr. comes in. As much as you might hate the guy, he's still
built
relevant.
For 2K.
Built for 2K and the triple position player. You know, those triple position players, I think the rules that came in around positional play really have helped.
Point guard. Wow, he's got point guard.
Yeah.
I mean, aside from Laravia, who's had his option decline, every other player on that roster has value. Extremely deep team. So well done, Pete, for hosting and running the show and getting your business done. And we've probably got time for one. Who rounds out the top 5?
Well, then it's a slew of 99
these
guys.
Quick mentions.
Yeah.
Dallas 99 to bring Miles Bridges back. I think he even had loyalty. That's probably overkill, but Dallas didn't have any other business, so that's fine. Clay got a 99 from Denver. I mean, he wanted to keep his boy around.
PG goes...
Take care of business. No one else even bid.
Nah.
But you don't second guess that.
Nah.
Who we got quickly? Same deal. Team brought him back. Valanciunas. Team brought him back. No one else even bid.
Nah.
Where else did it get spicy? 10? Mason Plumlee, 10 teams?
Torian Prince and Plumlee, that was pretty spicy.
Yeah.
Well, Torian I can talk to because
tell us.
It involves me.
Yeah. What did it cost you?
Well, this is where Nelson and I had similar minds.
0.35.
And I think the tipper there was the wins. Or you can look at it with picks as well.
Yeah.
However you look at it, it's a very slim margin.
Yeah.
And interestingly enough, that was the thing that really changed the tact of my free agency day. Torian was one of the guys that I wanted to bring in knowing that Oubre couldn't be returned because of salary. And he was going to walk, and Torian fit that all-rounder build. And Nelson, the big man Nelson had the same idea.
And he's a big boy on free agency day. He builds teams.
Yeah.
Yes, he has the star of stars, but he's always has shallow teams.
Yeah.
Not necessarily by design for free agency, but it always helps. Minimal picks. Always a great record. I feel like he's always got one of the best free agency algorithms since inception of the league.
And it really worked out for me on the day, bringing in guys like Melton, Gordon, your boy Bol comes back.
Wiseman as a flyer.
Taking the punt on Wiseman. You know, if there's a team that's going to be able to take a punt on him.
Eric Gordon. Yeah, they've got 5 or 6 players who can
just helps that rotation for the Spurs. And it was a bit salty, but then ultimately Torian becomes Tyus for me. So a bit of pain into some pleasure, and it's that fine line.
It is the fine line. And speaking of the fine line, we might conclude with maybe, I don't know, off the top of your head, we'll have a congratulations list.
Yep.
I'm not going to go with winners and losers.
No.
Congratulations list and a commiserations list. So we've already commiserated the Lakers.
Yeah, I think
we maybe off camera commiserated it, not as intently, the Clips.
Yeah,
who had Hartenstein taken.
I think you've got to look at a team like that and go, that's a commiseration there. Where they shot, you shoot 2 shots. They've obviously got a position where they can allow for that. But you'd say the Clippers. You'd say a team that came out. We'll say Cleveland.
Congrats to Cleveland. Congrats to Miami.
Yeah.
Congrats to Spurs.
I think Spurs.
Yeah.
Look at the other teams.
You got some props. Tyus, Tillman.
Well, yeah, Tillman, Tyus, KCP,
Yeah,
and Len. I don't want to give myself props.
that's the congratulations. You've made the list.
I
There's different intensities of
think-
congratulations.
thank
That's
you.
a congratulations.
And then
Like Detroit, what they even do? They had one bid. Sac, Chicago, New Orleans, Houston. I mean, a lot of these teams
yeah,
had pretty set rosters. So
Yeah.
there wasn't as much to lose. Minnesota is still like 4 players short
yeah,
of a legal roster. I think they maybe didn't do enough. Denver took Paul and Clay, and they were just like, "See ya,
Yeah.
we're happy." Maybe there wasn't a lot
I
of
don't
pain.
think so.
It was
I don't think
Utah.
so. Oh well, yes. Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
top of the. I'd say Cleveland won one,
yeah.
and Utah two, and then a
Yeah.
little gap after.
I think so. I think they're the clear winners of it. Utah, you know, props to the way in which you can make it work. And obviously, you know, their GMs do cap at 150, and the way that he was able to make it work for that team and bring these guys back to give it another run. I think that deserves a huge congratulations.
Great distribution of GMs, and now you look at his team. He easily has, like, he had one of the best teams, and then the risk is how do you keep that all from toppling and the Empire still going? Like, they've all come back on deals. That's the wrap-up music.
That's the wrap-up music.
So
Run it back.
You've heard the top 5 GM point attractees.
Yep.
NSL season starts under the week.
Very soon. Lots of excitement. Team's looking good. Lots of fortunes paved the way.
Thank you.
Thank
Great
you.
to talk
Always a
to
pleasure.
yourself. Great to talk to you too.
Thank you, beautiful humans.
See you next time.